Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the September 24th meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals, Village of Fishkill. Angie, could we have a roll call?
Sure. Chairman Tom Brooks,
Here.
Zoning Board Member Tom Newhart,
Here.
Board Member Terry Palumbo,
Here.
Board Member Anne Marie Trost,
Here.
Board Member John Depew,
Here.
and also in attendance is the Village Planner, Sarah Brown.
Thank you, Angie. We're here this evening to consider two variances being brought forward by the Red Line Diner and Viniciotis Office and Retail Development. And I see that we do have a rep here from the Red Line Diner. And would it be appropriate at this time to move forward and hear from him? Sarah?
Yeah.
Okay, let's hear about the variances. Good evening, by the way.
Good evening. Joseph Berger Engineering for the applicant. The Red Line Diner, in order to survive these tough times, it wants to build a permanent patio on the south side where they currently have the temporary tent, so that they can, move forward with the restaurant and to be in a position for if this thing or other things occur like this in the future. In order to do so, we need to replace some of the parking spaces, but we also are adding more tables. So we're adding a number of tables that will require 14 additional spaces. In order to accommodate the additional parking on the site to build this patio, the only real place we can place it is along the west side of the retail mall. Is there a way I could share the drawing, or do you all have the drawing?
Yeah, Joe, I was bringing it up. Actually, I will give you permission to share. I think actually you're able. Are you?
I think you should be able to share.
Should be able to share. If you
Okay.
hit at the bottom, share screen.
Okay, I see share screen. Okay. Host disabled participant screening, it says. I'll try it again. It says host disabled participant screening.
Now, when I click on it, Sarah, it says one participant can share at a time, and that's checked. And the next one says multiple participants can share simultaneously. And then it has advanced sharing options.
Go into it should be allowing him to share.
Okay. I just hit all participants can share.
Okay. Does it allow you now?
Well, it seems it looks like it, yes.
Okay, good.
Okay, does everybody see this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Do you see my mouse moving, or?
Yes,
Yeah.
I see it.
Great.
Yep.
Okay, this is in there. This is the entire site, Red Line Diner in the retail mall. Right around here is where we're going to put the patio. I'll show that in a second. In order to provide parking, we need to add a small strip of 4-foot asphalt right along here. Let me show you what that would look like. Where's my other drawing? Make sure I know how to do it. Okay, everybody see this?
Yes.
Colored?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is the patio right here that we're producing, with 28 seats. So what we're going to do is we're going to put 11 new spaces right here. And the way we construct that is by adding that 4-foot strip right along the edge, moving these spaces to 24 and 12 to the east by removing that large concrete that we have and making it about 5 feet wide instead of the large area we have. So we're able to move it to the east, not add any more impervious, and only add 4 feet of blacktop along here. We also are adding some parking here, here, and here in areas that are now landscaped. But we're adding landscaping here, 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 and here to offset that. And the landscape we're adding is closer to Route 9, which will give more of a buffer from the Route 9. Anyway, these landscaping areas are within the parking lot. So we feel that the substitution of the landscaping moving from here to here is a good thing and will offset that reduction. The reason we're here for the variance is because of this 4-foot strip. We're adding material into the area under the requirements where I have listed 171-36B, which only allowed so much parking. We had a variance from it before. We're now increasing the variance by 812 square feet. The previous variance was for 6,898 granted in February in order to build the retail mall. The addition will bring it to 7,710, or an increase of 812 feet increase in the variance to allow us to build that 4 feet. Variance 2. What was the second variance? I think that was only the variance. Which was relevant.
Yeah, the other one is actually outlined in my memo, Joe. I know when you came before the planning board, you were still working things out of trying to minimize any impacts that you would have and trying to avoid any further variances.
Yeah.
One thing that has happened is when this was originally approved in February of 2015,
Okay.
the applicant did receive the variance to allow more than 50% of the front yard to be paved.
Yes. Mhm.
The other part of that was the lot coverage allowed in this district was 75%.
Yes.
When we took into account all the parking areas in the building, it was at 87.7%.
Yes.
But at the time, the definition of lot coverage specifically said impervious area.
Yes.
So to avoid a variance for that, the applicant, and the board will probably remember this, the applicant proposed porous pavement
Yes.
for a portion of the parking lot.
Yes. Which we did.
Right, because that was an impervious surface and that was the previous lot coverage definition.
Mhm.
It dropped the lot coverage down to 65.
Yeah, 65 and change. Yeah, 65.
Yeah, 65 and change.
Mhm.
So after that happened, the zoning law was actually amended.
Oh, okay. Now I understand.
Yes.
So we
there
need
was
the variance for that. Gotcha. Okay.
There was an amendment to the zoning law that changed the definition of lot coverage.
Okay.
And we specifically, the village board specifically changed lot coverage to consider porous pavement, even though it does allow drainage, to be considered as an impervious surface.
Okay.
So now when we calculate lot coverage, we actually have to take into account porous pavement as lot coverage.
Understood. So we would be requesting that.
So
Yes.
while you previously did have 87.7% lot coverage, it didn't count that way. But
Yeah.
because it has changed, if you weren't increasing that, you would just be an existing nonconformance.
Understood.
But because that condition will be increased slightly from 87.7 to 88.1%, you technically need a variance to do that.
Or if I could remove that amount of blacktop to keep it at 87.7, we would not.
Yeah, if you can, I don't have.
I don't think I really can. I know I try to keep down the expansion as much as possible. So if the board would be amenable to giving us a variance, that would be the way I'd like to go. If not, then I'll have to go back to the design.
I do know from the conversation that we had at the planning board, you were trying to work on the plan as much as you could to avoid as much impact as you could.
Yeah,
for variances.
yeah. I went back to the board and added more landscaping and took a lot more. I took this impervious out here. That's a concrete island. I took that out. This was all blacktop. I took that out. This is all blacktop. I removed this entire section here of blacktop.
Right, where there's existing blacktop now.
Yeah.
So
I did a lot, but I wasn't able to get down to keep the 87.7.
You were close. You went from, it's 87.7 now to 88.1.
Yeah, I
So,
tried real hard.
so if you, after the discussion tonight, if you do decide, if that does become part of the application, if you don't think you can amend it any further and the board, is comfortable, you will just need to update the application to include this second piece.
I may ask a question if I may.
Sure.
One of the options I had, if I point to these diamonds over in this area here,
Mhm.
I was going to put some diamonds over here to remove more blacktop. But since it wasn't typically, you only do the diamonds when you have the double parking.
Mhm.
And so I did not, I had them in there and I removed them thinking that, I don't know if that really is something the zoning and planning board would want.
Because they're for planting.
They're for planting, that's why they're in a building, but we have so much room in here for planting already, they would end up not having anything in them but grass. Because there's plenty of room here for planting already. Here makes sense because they're in the middle of a parking lot. The only purpose I would be using the diamonds here for would be to remove blacktop.
I mean, I guess that's the discussion to have with the board
Okay.
of, their feelings on that. I'm going to pull out the plan right now and look and see how many square feet we're talking. And if that's something you think is feasible.
Could you explain what you mean by the diamond,
Let's see if I can even get a picture of it.
please?
And let's see if I have a picture on this thing. No, offhand, I only have the front pictures. The diamond in the rear of the existing mall there, and you've seen these up in Rhinebeck as well. They're concrete islands that form a square that's turned on its side to make it look like a diamond, and they're usually 4x4, and a tree gets put in the middle of them. And you drive right up to them, but because they're so small, your car overhangs them, but they're not sufficiently blocking where your car can go. And they're meant just for a tree or a shrub to be planted and add a little bit of shade within a parking lot. And we had put 2 of them in here, and they are still there today in the rear. And they're quite common in parking lots in order to break up the asphalt, but not very common along the edge where there's already a landscaping strip.
Thank you.
So the difference is in square footage between needing the variance and not needing the variance for lot coverage is 262 square feet.
And they're about 36 feet each. So that's not really gonna, we're still gonna end up with a variance.
Yeah. I was just going to ask, but there's a minimum. I was going to ask if you could shave a little bit off the front of the parking spaces, but I'm assuming that those are to the size regulations from the code.
Yeah, Larry and I went back and I was corresponding with Larry many times on could I go to 18, could I go to 19? And that could be something the board may want to, is that a different variance we should be looking for? Instead of making them 20 feet, if we made them 18 feet, we would be able to get below that. But that would require a variance according to the Larry.
It would. We do have a minimum parking space size.
Now on an 18-foot one, the car could still overhang, so it would fit just 18 is more than enough anyway. But since it doesn't have contrasting cars on this side, the car could pull right up to the edge and overhang a little and have plenty of room within it. So the 18 would work, but it would just require a variance. I guess I would then, if I may, ask the pleasure of the zoning board, would they rather see a variance for an 18-foot parking space versus a coverage? If that's something that we can discuss.
My own feeling, just listening to this just here this evening, would be I would prefer the variance go with the coverage as opposed to changing a size of a parking place. Just as, I don't know, just seems to me that that might not open the door for somebody else, but if we have 20 feet, it's 20 feet, and we don't have to then, go back and worry about this other, coming back at us. It seems to me, my own personal opinion is that this has been brought about because of two things that are really well beyond your control and your client's control.
Correct.
COVID-19.
Correct.
And the law was changed kind of midstream here.
Yes.
All right. So I prefer to kind of look at the variance for the coverage myself, but that's me.
It
No,
is-
I agree with you, Tom. This is Terry. I agree with you. The one thing,
Same for me, Tom. John.
Thank you, John.
the problem I'm having is allowing the parking spaces in the retail section to count towards the restaurant section. Help me reconcile why that's okay.
What we will be doing is providing to the village a maintenance and cross easement allowing it. The 11 spaces there are not needed for the retail mall. We have sufficient. We're just placing them there. And as the plaza works right now, prior to COVID-19, cars park back and forth anyway. What we'll be doing is providing a formal cross easement, allowing cars to park back and forth between the two plazas. So if my client ever sells one of the plazas to someone else in the future, there will remain a cross easement allowing cars in one to park to the other. So someone doesn't have to get up and move their car just 50 feet because it's a different plaza. In a sense, making both of these plazas one continuous parking area for all the uses, even if there are separate owners in the future. Again, I want to point out that the 11 spaces are not needed for the retail. They are specifically to give the additional parking per code that we need for the patio and the restaurant.
That's what I saw Chetty yesterday, and that's sort of what he said. But so you could set this up so that in perpetuity,
Yep.
That's the way those parking spaces would work, that those 11 spaces on the retail would be able to be used by the restaurant forever.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And-
And
Yeah, thank
that
you
will
for
be
clarifying.
provided. That will be reviewed by your village attorney, who
Mhm.
has requested that, and we're in the process of our attorney working with her, I believe, or if not, shortly will be.
Yeah, and I can add a little bit to that just to tell you how the village has handled this in the past. That is permitted by the code to allow parking on adjacent properties. And we do have this situation with a cross access easement. And we do actually have this situation in some of the other shopping plazas along Main Street where it's actually multiple parcels and there are access easements that have been placed across them.
I think we have that at La Costa with the Fishkill tire, if I recall.
There may be, yes.
Bill Ross had owned both parcels at the time.
Mhm.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that in my own head. Thank you both.
And I knew Joe just when 2015 was a long time ago for me anyway. I remember when going through this process then that there was some talk of wanting to maintain, which was done, like walking back and forth between some of the businesses so that it was more friendly for people who may be staying in a hotel or a motel, or,
Mhm.
to walk around.
Yep. we have-
This won't impact that at all, will it?
No,
Because that was kind of a neat thing.
no, we still encourage them to come over. We have this walkway down here with the steps that was built so that they can cross
Yes.
over. We encourage them, especially the diner encourages the residents who stay at the hotel or walk down there to come over. They welcome them, and they can start here, come up this path, still come straight through here. This walkway will continue to be the same. Right now, it's just big. It's still going to be 5 feet wide, so the front walkway will continue. We're actually having the walkway here and the walkway here, and we're adding a walkway right along here that doesn't exist today. So allowing people to walk down here. Right now, they're walking, when the tent wasn't there, they're walking down the blacktop or on this side. So now we're adding a walkway on the north side as well to complement the walkway on the south side, so people can walk without being inside the roadway.
What about disability parking spaces? Because the temporary patio right now is covering 1.5, I think, disability spaces.
We have the spaces right here. We're keeping them, and we have spaces right here as well.
Okay, that's
Over there.
where the landscape is. Okay,
So we have the handicap spaces. We're maintaining them and we're putting them over here, and we're having, and the ramp still works, so it comes right up. And they'll come into the building and out of the building into here, just as they
okay.
do. So the patio would be, even though you could step up from the outside, will be more like another dining room. You go inside here and come out into it like it's another dining room. It's just going to be outside.
Okay,
That
Thank
way
you.
that way they can control the amount of people coming in a situation like this by monitoring, controlling where they go.
The patio, when you say patio, is it a raised structure or is it a deck or is it like pavers?
It's a rate structure. Do you see this now?
Okay, yep.
It's
Yes.
a galvanized steel structure that's going to look just like the diner itself. This is the patio right here, and this is the diner behind it. The intent, according to, Teddy wants to make it look, when you're standing here looking, as if it's the diner itself, that you can't distinguish between this and the diner in the back. It will be monolithically done, so it will be an extension of the diner. It will have a temporary cover that can come out during heavy sun or from light rain that will retract. So it'll be not manual, but it'll be a retractable temporary cover over it. So during Sundays, when it's sunny out and nice out, it'll be open. When it's a little bit drizzle, it'll come out so people can still go outside.
Mhm.
Okay.
Great. Any other questions or comments or observations?
Well, regarding the parking, was it this lot or someone else's where they were gonna bank some parking spaces? Was that, or am I thinking of something else?
No, the original diner site plan had rear spaces that were originally going to be land banked.
yeah.
Those that are the 9 in the, oh, I'm pointing to my screen like you can see what I'm doing.
It's right here. These are the 9. These are the 9 Sarah's talking about. Were
Yeah.
banked and they were done. built.
They were originally banked and then determined to be needed, so they were.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Remembered
Good.
something like that.
Good memory.
All right, I don't have any other further questions.
I don't either.
Neither do I.
Neither.
Okay.
So procedurally, the next steps for the board would be, it sounds like you would prefer the applicant to seek a variance for the lot coverage instead of adjusting sizes of parking spaces. So if that is the case, Joe, you will need to just update the application materials, the application form to include that second variance.
Okay.
And then from the board's aspect, the next step, if you feel that you have all the information you need, is to set a public hearing.
Okay. We will do so. I'll get my calendar out here. Um, 22nd of October.
Sounds accurate. Let me just.
Yeah, that's the 4th.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
the fourth one. You can set
October
the public
22nd.
hearing for the 22nd of October. And we'll plan on doing that, if there are no objections, we'll plan on doing that by Zoom.
Yes.
Sounds good.
So we'll just need a motion and a
Motion.
second, and then a roll call vote.
Okay. Can I have a motion to hold a public hearing on October 22nd regarding the variance application from Red Line Diner and Viniciotis Office and Retail Development?
I make that motion that we have the public meeting on October 22nd to review all that.
And this is
We have a
Ann.
second.
I second the motion for the public hearing on October 22nd.
Thank you. Angie, can I have a roll call vote?
Sure. Tom Brooks,
Yay,
Tom Newhart,
Aye.
John DePew,
Yay.
Ann Trost,
Yay.
and Terry Palumbo.
Yes.
That's carried.
very good. All right.
I have the question, if I may.
Yes,
Is there any notification requirements by the applicant for the public hearing?
Yes, there will be the typical mailing that goes out, so you can contact Angie. I guess you'll be handling that.
Yeah, I'll have to see how to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll
Contact
post the
Angie.
publication in the
Yeah.
paper.
So Angie and I will draft the public hearing notice, and then she will put together the list of who it needs to be circulated to.
Okay, and then we'll put it in the paper and we'll make the notifications. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay.
okay. Well, thank you, Joe.
Thank you all.
Appreciate it.
Joe, how late in the season could you actually build this?
December would be the latest.
Okay.
We're hoping for, because in the winter, you're not going to have people going out in the patio, but we
No.
hope that we could get the construction started. So
Mhm.
early March, we could start having people back out there when it's starting to get
Okay.
warm. But we do have occasion, if it was built right now and it was up and running, I could see them using it in January on some of those wonderful days we have.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
can be opened up for, on just periodically. And that's the goal once this goes, because
Mhm.
we don't think this current environment's changing very soon.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Everybody good?
Yep.
Yes.
Mhm.
Oh, can I have a motion to adjourn?
This is Ann. I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
This is Terry.
I
I
second.
say. Go ahead, John.
I second the motion to adjourn.
Okay. Angie, can I have a roll call vote?
Tom Brooks,
Yes?
Tom Newhart,
Aye.
Ann Trost,
Yeah.
John DePew,
Yes.
Terry Palumbo,
Yes.
carried.
Okay. So we'll see all of you next month.
Thank you.
Okay.
Same time, same place.